No, I'm not the type to fall for the next round of hype that the world tosses my way, but last year, I watched a Dutch girl make a solo motorcycle run around the world, and I jumped at the chance to join my bestest motorcycle buddy on a cross country trip to the western United States. After packing many provisions, triple checking my lists, modifying the front of my bike to resemble a freight train, getting our routes dialed in, we set out at 5 a.m. on a balmy August morning. And although I ran out of gas before hitting the Florida Georgia line, I was glad to discover the absolute limit of my fuel tank while still on home soil. We hit our first campsite in western Mississippi, and by the next morning, I began to fathom the scope of this endeavor. No rain suit in the world can prepare you for the hundreds of thousands of raindrops you will endure whilst rolling from state to state. You just take shelter when it all gets a bit too sketch and enjoy the little after effects along the way. After the flat bits, I watched the highlands hang on the horizon in an almost ominous fashion. Seeing our planet breathing like a living being felt so much more personal than watching it on a screen at home. Diving deeper into the mountains literally felt like taking a plunge, despite the fact that I was gaining altitude, an effect one only experiences on a motorcycle. Nestled within these formations were some of the most beautiful nooks and crannies I've ever seen. Even the smaller, less significant areas had me pondering what a cold winter's night must be like. I visited the meccas, the geological formations, monuments that filled me with pride, and remote little towns at the very doorstep of a naturalist's paradise. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There were dizzying heights and treacherous cliffs we traversed, all of which left indelible, immutable memories in my mind's hard drive. Some vistas even compelled me to clear out some of my old files. I took a deep breath, wiped my eyes, wished them well, tossed them into the valley below, and hit delete. I once looked at the mountains and imagined them as infinite, permanent. I saw them as lasting for forever. Visually, they shift and change so slowly, it's almost indiscernible. But, as with all things and all beings, nothing lasts forever. Time and events and the elements are a sort of cleanup crew that makes sure to remove what is there to make room for the new. All is impermanent. All is without the self. Descending and heading south of the Continental Divide put me in the high desert, where a cruel, desperate heat keeps everything just below boiling temperatures. It introduced me to other types of geological features, some enigmatic, some bordering on the bizarre, but all of them remote, desolate. Heading back toward the east, the highlands disappeared and morphed back into the plains. I was reintroduced to the rivers and bayous and the unmistakable presence of Gulf saltwater, until finally I started seeing familiar signs, familiar landscapes. I proudly washed the road off of my bike and immediately began attaching the mementos and souvenirs I'd picked up along the way. I now know what the other guys were on about all these years. As I said in the beginning of this video, I'll never be the type to fall for hype and trading existing rules for a whole new set of rules in their place. So I'm documenting what riding means to me, and I want to share it with all of you. I got home and started doing all the things I'd promised myself I would do while out on the road. And I tell you, 10 hours alone in a helmet really helps you sort your stuff out, man. And I may even start dating again. But I don't know. Nothing out there seems to impress me all that much. And to be totally frank with all of you, I'm no fan of double standards, toxic behaviors, and a lack of accountability or empathy for that matter. But overall, I'm glad to join the elites, the risk takers, the daredevils, the people with enough loose screws to try something new. People who realized that the real boogeyman resides in your head and it's time to scare him off once and for all. I'm now on to the next phase, the next adventure, the next challenge. I'm looking to see what I have yet to see, to know what I have yet to know, to explore that lone canyon, to discover that lonesome back road, to ride the furthest mountain on the horizon. Because when the sun finally sets on my life, when all is said and done, my memories are all I take with me. The people who love and care for me will carry off trinkets, sums of money, and whatever else that reminds them of me. But even those memories will eventually fade, and life will go on for them. The mountains taught me that nothing lasts forever. No one gets out alive, and cemeteries don't provide U-Haul parking for a reason. My journey taught me that I have but one life to live, that I have but one shot to make it everything I could ever want it to be, and reminds me of what Socrates once said: the unexamined life is not worth living. I choose to live this life. Thanks for watching.